Hi. Thank you for stopping over to watch this video. In this video, we'll get to gain some knowledge about disease outbreaks, the patterns, types, and sources. But first, let's define an outbreak. The World Health Organization, WHO, defines it as the occurrence of cases of disease in excess of what would normally be expected in a defined community, geographical area, or season. There are several outbreak patterns which can be useful in identifying the transmission method or source and predicting the future rate of infection. Each has a distinctive epidemic curve, or histogram of case infections and deaths. Sources of disease outbreaks. 1. Common source. All victims acquire the infection from the same source, for example, a contaminated food or water supply. Under common source we have continuous source. This is a common source outbreak where the exposure occurs over multiple incubation periods. Point source. This is a common source outbreak where the exposure occurs in less than one incubation period. 2. Propagated transmission occurs from person to person. Outbreaks can also be behavioral risk-related. For example, sexually transmitted diseases, increased risk due to malnutrition. Zoonotic, the infectious agent is endemic to an animal population. Infection is transferred to humans. Patterns of occurrence include endemic, a communicable disease which is consistently present but limited to a particular region. This makes the disease spread and rates predictable. Malaria, measles are considered as endemics in certain countries and regions. Epidemic. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, describes an epidemic as an unexpected increase in the number of disease cases in a specific geographical area. Yellow fever, smallpox, measles, and polio are prime examples of epidemics. Pandemic occurs when an epidemic spreads worldwide. There are many reasons why an outbreak can occur. Outbreaks of disease can be caused by 1. Weather conditions. For example, whooping cough occurs in spring whereas measles tends to appear in the winter season. 1. Exposure to chemicals or radioactive materials can also be a cause. For example, Minamata is a disease contracted after exposure to mercury. 1. The social aftermath of disasters such as storms, earthquakes, and droughts can lead to high disease transmission. 4. Previously unknown or undetected agents. Known agents that have spread to new locations. 1. Genetic drift and genetic shift. 1. Climate and weather patterns, for example, the increasing range of mosquito-borne illnesses. 1. Human travel patterns, like the SARS epidemic. 1. Urbanization. People are more likely to live in densely populated areas, making disease transmission easy. 1. A change in human susceptibility, such as measles outbreaks. 1. Bioterrorism attacks. The deliberate introduction of a disease with terrorist purposes like anthrax or smallpox. Now take a few minutes to answer these few questions. 1. The scientists who study diseases and outbreaks are called epidemiologists, biologists, immunologists, or outbreakologists. 2. Which of the following types of outbreaks has one source that affects people over a long time period? Point source outbreak, propagated outbreak, continuous common source outbreak, or intermittent common source outbreak? 3. Which of the following describes a short-lived outbreak resulting from a single source? Point source outbreak, continuous common source outbreak, intermittent common source outbreak, or propagated outbreak. 4. Give at least 2 examples of epidemics, pandemics, and endemics. If you learned something from this, please give this video a like. Thank you for watching.